Welcome to the new WheelQueens podcast. It is my privilege. My name is Tony Gapisone, as the founder and executive director of Ravemaker, to introduce you to the new rebranded podcast with your new co-hosts, Jennifer Kumiyama and Krystina Ray Jackson. Take it away.
Hey. Thank you, Tony. Welcome, Jennifer. We are so excited.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Jennifer is joining us. She is our guest co-host for the next month or so. If we get to keep her, we hope we do. We are going to be rocking and rolling live every Wednesday at 5, digging into disability culture. Is that wild?
That rhymes.
Culture, community, life. We're going to be going in, but let's talk about Jennifer. I want to introduce you to Jennifer. Real quick, tell us where. I want to do your origin story. We'll probably do it again, but let's jump in now. Where were you born and raised? What are you doing today that is really exciting you?
Awesome. I was born in Riverside, California at March Air Force Base. It's now a reserve base. I am the oldest of 6. And today, in my everyday job, I work at a campaign consulting and fundraising firm where we work every day to elect more women of color, and members of the LGBTQ and disability community.
I love it.
No, gigging here and there a little bit when I can. Thanks, pandemic.
Thanks, pandemic. Yeah, pandemic's going to slow that down. A lot of Zoom gigging. Totally. So you got to be proficient with the Zoom gigs. But can you share where we first met? It's not even all those years ago. We literally have known each other 3.5 years. Met in Sacramento. First time I met Jennifer, she was using them pipes. So tell us a little bit about Capital Action Day, what you're doing in SAG, and how we first met.
Yeah, we first met. Well, I met you after you got crowned Miss Wheelchair California, right? What year were you again?
2018.
Yes, and I'm 2010. So we're both Miss Wheelchair California's formers. And we were at Capital Action Day. I was singing and I saw you decked out with your sparkly tiara and our beautiful sash that we all have. And I was like, yo, that's my sister. She doesn't know me, but she's about to know me.
That's my sister. That's exactly what I thought. Girl, when you got up on that stage.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I sang, and then I think you spoke. Didn't you speak?
I did not. I was just blossoming as an advocate. I was dressed only. Can I tell you? I just bought all those clothes you saw. I was working from home only. I had nothing but like jeans and yoga pants. And my mom, she's from the East Coast. She's all about dressing, ironing. Like, you got to be sharp. And she was like, you can't wear jeans and a blazer. I will not allow you to do this California business casual. Like, she was like, absolutely not. And I ended up in slacks, right?
She's stage mama.
She's a stage mama, and she whipped me into shape so I could look like somebody and meet the fabulous Jennifer Kumiyama, who rolled up on stage.
You were so beautiful.
She took the mic. Thank you. And she got to singing, and I was like, you know what? I want to do that. It's not going to sound as beautiful, but I'm going to use my voice and do something powerful because I am so moved right now, And when we talk like as an advocate, getting your little training wheels off, you have to start rolling the roll. You can't just talk about the good things and include. You cannot do that.
No,
you cannot.
No, you have to be about it. And the community has to know that you're about it. And
they do.
I don't think a lot of people know that I ran for Miss Wheelchair twice, and it wasn't until the second time that I won.
Get it going, because
I was a baby advocate too. I just started working at Disney. I was the first performer in a wheelchair on a stage, and that's how I grew into my advocate self. I was like, oh wow, I think me having this gig is way bigger than me getting the gig that I've always wanted. It's about representing the disability community, specifically in entertainment. So I think we all start somewhere, but I feel like there's some real respect out there for the people who know that they're baby advocates and who work their way up being real like movers and shakers in the disability community. So I was super excited to meet you that day. And ever since then, it's been like, hey, sis.
That's my sister. Yeah. That's my sister. I love that when you meet someone and you just know there's that instant connection, you know. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times that's talked about in the context of romance,
Mhm.
but a lot of it's this is, you know, this is a beautiful platonic, like you just see someone
Mhm.
and you know, that's my people.
Yeah,
I
and
know
every time
her.
we get together, it's hilarious because, uh, I don't know, we're not, like, bad troublemakers, we're good troublemakers, and I always have fun with you and your family, and,
Yeah.
you know, and no matter how far apart the time is that we've seen each other, how far apart we are distance-wise, when
Mhm.
we get together, it's like we never skipped a beat.
It's
So
always, oh, I love it. So this is
Oh.
very cool. And we want to support all the baby advocates out there. It's something about like having the confidence to fight
Mhm.
on behalf of your community. I don't know why it took so much. I was like, of course you should have confidence, you know, to fight for the things that you believe in and for yourself. And for me, it's just it was a different journey for me. I wasn't born with a disability, so I had to confront my own ableism. And I'll tell you something, I've been doing that for years. That's not something that's one and done because we're all, you know, exposed to conditioning and we have ideas, kind of limiting ideas about women and people with disabilities and people who are gay and all kinds of things you may not think live within you, but you're exposed to it and they can live within you and it could be really really damaging. So it's beautiful to be a part of the community and to meet people like Jennifer and just encourage all the other queens out there. Keep on, we're formers. 2010, 2018. You got to keep rocking and rolling. Once an advocate, always an
Oh,
advocate.
mhm.
Always. How did the Miss Wheelchair California competition find you?
Well, I found it. I was probably 12 when I saw, I think her name was Dawn. I can't remember what year she was, but she was Miss Wheelchair California. And she had this cute red, white, and blue tracksuit on with her tiara and her sash. And I was like,
What? Uh-huh. Is this SoCal?
yeah. It was
Okay.
at, I think, the Anaheim Convention Center. And then, you know, when the years went on and I was like, no, I'm not really an advocate. You know, I think I was growing as an adult, as a woman of color with a
Mm-hmm.
disability, finding myself and finding my confidence in all of my identities, everything that I'm, you know, intersectional with. And I was like, you know what? I think that me being at Disney has way less to do with me fulfilling my own personal dream and way
Mm-hmm.
more to do with um, being an example for not just people with disabilities, but the people who run our entertainment industry. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of I don't know how you call it, but you know, I feel like even today still there's very much this notion that you can't look to disabled and
Mm-hmm.
be this, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, I think where we're different is that I was born with my disability, you know, and I have atrophy in my arms and my legs, and I feel like physically I look like I was born this way, but and I feel like, you know, disabled is disabled is disabled. There's beauty
Mm-hmm.
in every body, everybody's body,
Mm-hmm.
and that we need to celebrate that, you know, and as a society we need to lift people up um so that they can be that way, that we can allow, you know, allow them to be completely empowered by
Mm-hmm.
their outside and their insides.
As their
So
authentic selves. That's what I'm hearing. I love that.
come at me organic. Come
Yeah,
as you
you gotta
are.
be
Speaking of
organic.
which, I know we talked about it briefly, but I'm a lamo and I have a lot to do, and my calendar's like, you know, really packed. And I was so excited for this that I was like, oh, it's
Yeah,
rehearsal. And I came like this messy bun and a
and you're
t-shirt.
stunning.
And you know what? I think we need to
Jennifer,
normalize welcoming people as they are and
for real,
realize,
for real.
yes,
Yeah, she
showing
is not, she did not unbeat that face. This is
keep
not
the
a cute,
faith
messy
up.
up bun. Like, it is cute, but she didn't do this to be cute. This is she just came to work. Okay,
Well,
she
I
just
just,
rolled into
you
the
know,
office. She ready to talk. We're ready to chat. So
nothing,
yeah, and
nothing.
if you want to
Work.
join us, we are normalizing coming as you are. Last Wednesday of every month, we will be shooting as we are. So you might get to catch me with a turban and some rollers and whatever else. You know, we're
Mhm.
gonna show up because we want to focus on just like you want to focus on a person's character and not the outer. Focus on the content of our podcast. We're going
Mhm.
to be talking about disability culture in a very real way to move the needle forward to start seeing the change we want to see in the world. We are going to start with ourselves. And I'm
Yep.
going to jump back to you, Jennifer. You said you competed twice.
Mhm.
I kind of competed. I didn't win. I'll just say that. But let's jump into your story first. I initially didn't win. So, Jennifer, what was your first competition like?
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
I went to Sacramento. I went to our state capital, and it was smaller. It was an office, and it was me and two other women, and they were great. I'd never competed in anything remotely close to a pageant.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know, and I know people who really know me know that I'm not really what you would consider a pageant type girl.
Right.
But Miss Wheelchair California is an advocacy pageant, so I was like, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
it. And, it took a lot of refining because she's a little rough around the edges from LBC. So I competed the first time, and I did not have an extensive advocacy resume like my fellow competitors did. So I was
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
runner up that year in 2009, and I was grateful enough to have a title holder that I served under who took me under her wing, showed me the ropes, Miss Allison Roth, and then there's Miss Susan Rachi, who I refer to as our mom.
Ooh. Yeah. Shout out Susan Rachi.
They
Yeah.
really took me under their wing, and they're like, let's go to this event. This is why this is important, and this is why we need disabled voices behind this, and
Mm-hmm.
they literally took me under their wing and showed me the ropes. And then from there, I feel like I just found my own foundation of the kind of advocate that I wanted to be, and I
Mm-hmm.
really started to blossom and do things in my community. I became a commissioner. I actually took over Miss
That's
Wheelchair
right.
California in 2012, and then passed the baton to Susan and our amazing sister, Dr. Alette Coble Temple, who's also another title holder, and who was crowned Miss Wheelchair America.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
Powerhouse.
been a wild ride ever since, being a disabled advocate and also being a woman of color. And the
Mm-hmm.
other ways that I identify myself, I strongly encourage people that I meet, disabled or not, that you have to look at the the broader picture of things. Like, I'm not just disabled, I'm not just a woman, and I'm not just a person of color. I'm all three of those
Mm-hmm.
things and more. And each one of those things affects the other. And I think that's something that's really been important to me lately, is disability intersectionality.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Each one of those things affects the other, and we all affect each other. So there's no point in
Absolutely.
trying to ignore or dismiss any part of the fabric of this beautiful country. We all need to be embraced. And I love what you're saying about not, because if you meet Jennifer, it's like, oh, you feel very much organically like you were born. You were a born advocate, and you've always had that bullhorn. So it's really beautiful to hear that you also started off uncertain of your message, uncertain of your platform. If this was really the space for you, and I also had those concerns too. I wasn't into, like, I'd never done a pageant, but when I heard it was about advocacy and it was a competition for leadership, I was like, okay, I love that. So for any women out there in California who use chairs that want to get into the Miss Wheelchair California, definitely check out the website and get involved. It will change your life. It dramatically
Yes.
has changed my life, and it's been a wild journey that we are both still on. And so talk a little bit about, what was your platform for the second time you ran?
I think my platform was empowering youth to turn their
Mhm.
own dreams into reality. And that was a time warp right there, because that was so long ago, girlfriend. I was like, what
I
was my
know, I've blanked.
I would I was
I have. What was your platform?
uh
I forgot. Because you do so many things in that space. Like, once you do find your voice, you start championing so many areas
yeah.
that you didn't know, and your sisters bring issues to light,
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
the issues that they're facing that I had no idea. And like you said, like, you're a woman of color, you have a disability, like, there's things about your world that but there's things that you don't know, and that's why we all, have to rely on each other. And what I learned is I had no idea the plight that women in chairs face when it came down to domestic abuse and not having accessible shelters, and what that means if you're at home with a partner and you use a power chair and you're being abused, you have nowhere to go. And so that was the first during the competition. And
that wheelchair. Yeah.
Say it again.
Especially if you're taken out of that wheelchair, like.
Yeah. Or they can't accommodate your service dog, and it's just like, it's inhumane. It's like, okay, so then you're stuck at home with your abuser. So got to learn about all kinds of different issues and get to advocate for those issues. And so that's been a beautiful part of this journey. And you and I are going to dig in it and talk about all of it, and talk about the 2018 competition and how I did not roll away with that crown, but I ultimately got it. So that's pretty cool. And if you guys have, anyone listening, if you have any burning questions for Jennifer or I, women living, moving through the world in power chairs, women of color, we don't know everything about everything. We are just going to talk about our own personal experiences and ways that we hope uplift and empower you, and in a very authentic and real way. We're going to get real on this show. So
Real
stay
and
tuned. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to
And
be
real
a
what?
comfortable discussion.
Yeah.
Many of them, I feel like. Yeah.
Many of them, but
So
yeah.
how
In the interest of healing.
yeah. How what was, other than, the issues surrounding domestic violence, what other issues are you behind and supporting today as a woman with a disability?
Driving programs. Driving is so essential. Transportation is so essential. People with disabilities definitely getting the short end of the stick. Unfortunately, we're not in the forefront or even the back of people's minds when it comes down to that. And so it can leave you isolated. You could be stuck at home, and it can affect your ability to date, to be employed, to live your life. So I learned about, the disparities there. And I remember when I went to learn how to drive, there was literally 2 companies in like all of California. Needless to say, I don't have a driver's license and I don't drive still to this day. So I got to learn about that issue.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think for me, it's been more or less here's the thing. I'm part of this coalition called Californians for Smart Fueling. And it's a program that will ultimately provide access for drivers with disability to gas their vehicles at home. Like one of the main reasons why I don't drive a car is because I can't gas my own car. Like, why would
they don't come out and if you guys think they come racing out, if you have a placard up or a disability placard, they do not race out to fuel your car. So yeah, that's that kind of thing is a simple fix. So it's good to have these conversations, and it's good I was invited by Stanford to go and speak to their transportation planning class. So it's out there now in the atmosphere. People are talking about how do we better serve the disability community when it comes down to transportation planning and transportation. So you're part of that coalition. So we're moving in the right direction, but the more conversations we could have, the closer we can get to seeing, you and I jumping in cars and just going. Just being gone, independent, Can
you imagine Tony calling us? Where are you guys? We're in Vegas, Tony. You're supposed to be on a podcast. Oh, sorry. I think the other struggle with things like that is that people with disabilities are constantly being asked, whether people realize it or not, to fight for access to basic needs. Basic needs, like, domestic violence shelter, being able to gas your car, things like that.
Yeah, those are very basic. Yeah, and you spend so much time struggling for that.
I know that advocates get burnout, it's real. It's very real, burnout. But I think if I don't drive in my lifetime, I hope that the younger people behind me will have the opportunity and have the ease of being able to, ask them, have a service to come gas their car or provide drive, things like that. So,
absolutely. That's why we do this show. That is absolutely why we're going to be doing this show. And Jennifer and I, what I love about her is that we both are very focused on the service of what we're doing and not the self. So we're here to serve you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, we're advocates. If there's an issue you want us to go after, like some wild dogs, let us know what it is. We'll
Put
fill it
that
out, see
Batman
if
sign in the sky.
it's right.
That girl. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And we're going to have fun doing it because that's the other part. We're so busy fighting for basic things. We're not celebrating and doing our arts and doing the things that bring us joy and bring us, happiness because we're so busy like doing this other stuff. We want to get
I'm
past
looking
that. Yeah.
forward to getting to know you better and,
Yeah.
sharing parts of myself that I haven't shared with you before, and, answering questions for our community or people who aren't a part of our community.
Yeah.
Disability is not something to shy away from.
It's a beautiful language. We're going to teach you a little bit of it as best we can. We're not proficient, but we're learning. So definitely join us if you're ready to learn to speak disability culture and
right.
rid yourself of all those uncomfortable feelings around people with disabilities. All you have to do is submerge yourself. It's like anything. If you're feeling comfortable around people who are differently abled, spend more time with them. So spend some time with us Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jennifer and I will be here. We'll be so real, having a good time, having some fun conversations.
All right, sis. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, everyone, for watching.